All right, we're back live with the one and only
Oh man.
Alex Puccio. Can you tell us how to pronounce your full name?
My full name?
Yes.
My legal
What's your legal name?
Is Alexandria Elizabeth Coca.
Coca.
And without sounding weird, I guess my stage name has now turned to Alex Puccio.
Okay.
But short story, Puccio is my dad's last name, and Coca is my mom's maiden name. And my name was never when I was born was never I was Coca at birth, and was never legally changed to Puccio. But they called me Puccio growing up, and then when anything that had to be legal, like checks, started winning competitions, bank account, all that fun stuff, working, I had to go by Coca. So I tried to change my name to, in the climbing industry, as Coca, and register as comps as Coca, but somehow they found out it was me, and they changed my name on the starting list to Puccio anyways. So I got stuck.
It sounds very Italian, am I correct?
It is. I'm very Italian.
Very Italian.
The olive skin.
She's very Italian. Alright, so back to the questions from your fans. Have you climbed in the Adirondacks? And if not, do you have any plans to head that direction?
I haven't. Where is it?
East Coast.
East Coast. I haven't done that much climbing on the East Coast. I've been to Rumney, and that's about it. And it was like when I was 15, maybe 14, for like a week. So I really want to start doing more climbing outside, so maybe I'll get there someday.
Nice. Very good. We have a question from Addison Moore. She says, "Hey Alex, hardest climb you have ever done?"
Ooh, well, hardest climb I have personally ever done, excluding grades, I would say the Buttermilker in Bishop, even though, and I did the stand start, which is V12, and that took me like 4 or 5 days, but there was like a couple moves that are just really reachy for me, and I like to seek out the reachier climbs, just to kind of give it the middle finger and be like, you're not going to stop me from doing it. But yeah, I think like that's why grades are so subjective, and it's always depending on style and in height. I mean, there's climbs that said they're, in the guidebook could be V14, and I've personally downgraded them because they're easier for me. So I think it's really important to be honest with yourself, and don't just take whatever anyone else thinks, and just be true to yourself.
Very cool. We had another question in the comments. What are your future World Cup plans?
Oh man, not to attend Vail, because apparently it's bad luck for me. But no, in all seriousness, now that the climbing's in the Olympics, I'm still torn if I want to try out or not. I think I probably will, especially if the tryouts are going to be in a couple years, since the actual Olympic would be in 4 years. But I think I'll still do some competitions for sure. I don't know if I'll do the whole World Cup series, especially since the U.S. doesn't have any funding, and it's on your own dime, which kind of sucks and adds more pressure. And I don't live a very lavish lifestyle. I don't make tons of money. I still work, and those World Cups are really expensive, especially going to India and China. And I'm not going to crowdfund again, I've decided. So I think, maybe I'll do some competitions here and there.
So can you talk about a little bit about that? Like, what are your frustrations as far as the support coming from your home country to get you to the World Cups? How has that shaped your World Cup decision and career?
I think that, we have such a strong team in the U.S. We just don't have any funding to go to the World Cups. And so basically our system right now is that if you have to compete at nationals, and I think it's like $200 to enter our national championships, and then plus you have to pay to fly there, wherever it is. So we have a big turnout there, which is amazing for how expensive it is. And then it goes down the list. Like, obviously, if you're top 4, you're on the USA team, but then whoever wants to go, I think we had some people that came even last place go into the World Cups, which by all means, that's awesome, but it comes down right now to who has money, which kind of sucks. So we have a strong team, a great team, but can't ever really show it off. Hopefully one day that will change, especially now going to the Olympics. Kind of want your best to be shown at the World Cup circuit, and hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, nice. Miguel Santos had a question. He wants to know, hey Nick, he wants to know what that black tube is behind you in the top shelf, and that is the magic stuff.
Secret stuff.
Secret stuff.
Yeah.
The magic keeps the secret stuff. And that is our liquid chalk. And
I won't put it on right now.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to.
Do you ever use liquid chalk at all?
I do. I like to use liquid chalk mostly in competitions, like right before I go out on each boulder. Very rarely, personally, do I use it outside, but I know some people that use it outside a lot. And it's personal preference. Some people just use it all the time, don't even use powder chalk, and some people never use liquid chalk, but I like to use it in competition and before every boulder problem, about 2 minutes before I go out to be exact. I put it on, let it dry off,
nice.
And then I still chalk up. I don't not use powder chalk. I like both, so be
Very
extra chalky.
Cool. So we got the secret stuff here for those who like to use the liquid chalk. Coming soon. Yep, in your retailer soon. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Another question from Chris Dumas. He said, what's the sport need to look like in order to make sure U.S. athletes attend World Cups, and is the problem sponsors?
I mean, the climbing industry is still fairly small. I think it's going to start blowing. It's already blowing up. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. I mean, and that's part of the reason why the Olympic Committee passed it to be in the Olympics. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger now that it is going to be in the Olympics. So I think that was one thing that needed to happen, which it did. So hopefully we see the growth from that. And it is sponsors a little bit, but the sponsors, I mean, hopefully, I don't know what every company is making, but they're doing their best to sponsor the right athletes and give the money that they can give to their athletes to help support them. But, the industry just needs to grow so there's more money in it, so that the athletes, the sponsors can support their athletes, and then we get them to the World Cup, but also the USA Climbing, I think, needs to, maybe it's not that they're doing anything wrong, but hopefully since the industry goes, and they'll have more money, and then that will help them to be able to send athletes.
Very cool. We got a question from Marco Campos, and his question is, what do you recommend to train to break the V7, V8 plateau?
Wow.
Basically, how do you train to break any plateau?
Yeah, I think majority of climbing, everyone's so different. Let me start off by saying that everyone's so different, and everyone hits plateaus at different points. You're always gonna hit plateaus. You're gonna get stronger you get, the plateaus are gonna be harder and harder to break through. It's like, I know it sounds silly. I just bought an Xbox One, so I'm gonna use an analogy from that. You have different levels on a game, and every time you break, the beginning levels are really easy to get to the next level, and then it gets harder and harder. Excuse my dorkiness, but so it's I think it's kind of like that. And I didn't really start doing hangboard or any of that until I was around a V10 climber. Not saying that is the right way to do it, but for me personally, I didn't feel like I needed to. And climbing, just a lot. Volume and always trying your hardest, I think, is the number one thing to success. And then you can start, doing your own studies and okay, are you lacking footwork? Are you lacking power? What are you lacking? And then try to do more of that. I would say that's fun. And I like to do a lot of cardio. I like to stay fit. And doing a lot of fitness is not going to translate to you're going to just climb the grade scale. It's more it keeps you fitter so that you can train harder so you can climb the grade scale.
But you would say maybe hangboarding helped a little bit break into another level?
I'd say hangboarding helped, and especially for finger strength, so that when you are climbing, your fingers are stronger and you can push harder on smaller holds.
Nice.
So you don't get injured. And I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, I'm no exception to this not getting injured rule.
Yeah.
But obviously injuries suck because then it sets you back a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. We got a queue coming up behind me to get more signatures. So as you can see, we got a nice line. So I'm going to step away. We're going to step away. And thanks, everybody, for your comments. And Alex says peace.